Hashirama Senju, the legendary first Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village and hailed as the god of Shinobi while alive, versus Edward Newgate, the pirate known as Whitebeard who gained the title of the world's strongest man during the golden age of piracy and who many believe could have been the next pirate king after Gold D. Roger. Just like with my other Naruto vs One Piece battles, I wanted to take two characters who have similarities with each other and see who would win in a one-on-one match. Even going into the Boruto era, Hashirama is still to this day one of the strongest characters in the verse without question, who with his leadership over the Leaf Village viewed all of the citizens as part of his family and would go as far as to kill his best friend Madara if it meant protecting the village. In a similar vein, Whitebeard is one of the strongest characters to date who's still being used as a measuring stick in power and is a pirate whose dream was to have a family and viewed everyone under his banner as his children and would go as far as fighting the world government if it meant protecting a single member of his found family. Just like always, quick disclaimer, I am a fan of both Naruto and One Piece and will do the best I can to assess both characters' arsenals as accurately as I can. I'd appreciate if we could just sit down and have a discussion about the topic, so try not to be that snarky guy who thinks I'm being biased or malicious with the video if you disagree with my opinion for X reason, because it's never going to be that deep when we're talking about fictional characters duking it out. I'm still fairly new to YouTube and don't even have 10 power scaling videos up, but I encourage you to check out the other battles I have on the channel and subscribe if you like what you see. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in the discussion. I think it's important to clarify that for this match, we're using both characters in their prime forms for the battle because there's numerous reasons why taking their other variations doesn't work. It's been stated numerous times in Naruto that for Edo Tensei, they are weaker than they were when they were alive. No matter what powers are displayed by Edo Tensei Hashirama, it does not reflect Hashirama's true strength. I feel like it would be disingenuous on my end to use a weaker version when it's clear Hashirama can do better while alive. And the same logic applies to Whitebeard. If I use Marineford Whitebeard, this would basically just be elderly abuse. It's not even an exaggeration to say that Marineford is Whitebeard at his absolute worst. His health is failing mid-battle, he becomes so weak he can't dodge attacks that he 100% should have been able to do. He needs help from weaker crewmates to aid him mid-battle, and he blatantly does not have access to his max power anymore. So using a live Hashirama and Whitebeard at his prime leaves less room for contention since they're both at their best with no external factors playing into the match. I will say that if any feats Old Beard and Edo Tensei Hashirama perform, we're going to say a live Hashirama and Prime Beard can do the same thing at higher levels of power. Furthermore, there are numerous characters in this matchup who perform feats that a live Hashirama and Prime Beard would be able to do, that being Blackbeard at Marineford and his Yonko variant, and Yamato, Danzo, Obito, and Madara, since they are all literally using Hashirama's own cells to perform feats in Jutsu Hashirama can do. I don't think anyone should have much of a problem with this reasoning, so let's go ahead and jump into the next topic. Now when it comes to speed scaling, this match is actually extremely straightforward. It's very easy to justify why both characters are multiple times faster than light. Like I've said in previous videos, the lasers for the pacifistas are confirmed to be light, Base Saboti Luffy dodges it, Luffy at this point in the story does not remotely come close to Prime Beard at literally all of his stats. For Hashirama, the Lariat is blatantly stated to be approaching the speed of light. When the Raikage attacks KCM-1 Naruto, it's stated that he is at his max power by Killer B, and Naruto blatantly blitzes him. Naruto gets KCM-2 later, which is another boost in all of his stats, and EMS Sasuke is relative to him. The second Madara comes back to life, he is literally blind and only has access to the stolen Senjutsu. He proceeds to dodge all of EMS Sasuke's attacks while in his weakened state. Keep in mind, Madara literally states that he has the advantage against Tobirama and Hashirama because he's alive while they are Edo Tensei. Another way of looking at it is Edo Tensei Madara, who is weaker than his prime alive state, is literally toying with the 5 Kage, and their fastest member is the Raikage. So no matter how you slice it, holding back Edo Tensei Madara is faster than the Raikage, alive Madara is faster than his Edo Tensei self, and for hours, base Hashirama fought prime EMS Madara with the complete Ninetales aiding him. Then you stack on Sage Mode and his stats only increase further. There are other aspects to go into when it comes to Hashirama's power, but that'll be left for another section. As long as we can agree, both of these characters are without question in the multiple times faster than light weight class. When it comes to stamina and endurance, both of these guys are legit monsters. During the Warring Clans era, Hashirama and Madara fought for 24 hours straight, and Hashirama is not even wheezing after he defeats Madara. Both of them grew much stronger later in the story. Primebeard straight up fought Roger for 3 days straight with both characters not receiving any significant damage from the battle, and neither side was tired. I think it's safe to say that both Whitebeard and Hashirama can fight for multiple days without rest, and they're both performing at max capacity. We see Hashirama be able to take on the complete Ninetales and be able to fend off Biju bombs with his wood style and the power of the Susanoo-clad Ninetales. Old Whitebeard literally was dying during Marineford and took dozens upon dozens of wounds during the battle, on top of getting shot by Kizaru's lasers, 2 holes blown through his chest by Akainu, and quite literally a chunk of his face blown off. It's safe to say that Primebeard is able to take on more punishment than his vastly weaker self, and that each character is not failing just due to gassing out. Now normally I break down all the relevant stats side by side, but for this video I think I'll just unpack their arsenals one section each because of the different powers they possess and how they apply them in battle. So starting off with the Whitebeard, it's very clear that he has access to all forms of Haki and is blatantly using Advanced Conquerors and Advanced Armament Haki against Roger, which drastically increases attack potency. He also does the same thing with Shanks as an old man before Marineford. If you think Whitebeard doesn't have Future Sight just because it hasn't been shown in the story, that's fine, but it makes no sense for him to not have it when he's literally fighting Roger and is using the other forms of Advanced Haki. When it comes to Whitebeard's Quake Fruit powers, we really have to take into consideration the condition of Marineford Whitebeard. We clearly see Whitebeard before showing up to the Marineford rip all the oxygen tanks off before appearing and proceeds to cause a tsunami attempting to destroy the Navy base as his opening attack. After he gets stabbed by Scourge and it literally being mentioned by Marco how much his health declines, Whitebeard flat out causes an even bigger quake that nearly flips all Marineford with the giant mega tsunamis being formed everywhere. He can even emit the force into his fist, increasing his AP, and he has precise enough control to be able to shoot out quakes, as seen when he shot one at Aokiji mid-air. This emission and projection can also be formed around his body, where he is literally being able to produce shockwaves strong enough to break out of Aokiji's ice ball, and he's Naginata to blast out shockwaves as well. All feats performed by a dying old Whitebeard. When looking at Blackbeard upon getting a hold of Whitebeard's fruit, we literally see him within minutes of obtaining the power perform the same island tilting tsunami feat as old Whitebeard, and Blackbeard himself states he can't control the power yet, highlighting his inexperience. Fast forward to 2 years in the future against the battle with the Law, we see Blackbeard use Tremor Crash in the battle. The quakes are more controlled and refined. This is proof of Blackbeard's better control as time progressed. Primebeard has had his powers for decades, and when upset over Roger's request to take Odin, nearly sinks the island they're on. Keep in mind again that this is performed after 3 days of non-stop fighting against Roger himself, and this is likely Whitebeard restraining himself because he would never do anything to endanger the lives of his crew that he views as his own family. With that in mind, I think there's no arguing that Primebeard shows better control and output compared to his weaker old self, and is likely a better user of the Quake Fruit than Blackbeard for the simple fact that he has his powers for decades and it's only been 2 years for Teach. When it comes to Hashirama, his standout ability is being the most proficient user of wood-style ninjutsu in all of Naruto. I don't think it needs to be really explained that Hashirama's wood isn't simply just normal wood. This wood is clearly stronger than just regular tree bark. No normal piece of wood is catching a literal Biju bomb from the complete Ninetales and slamming it back into him. In the battle with Madara, we clearly see Hashirama in base, able to defend against Madara's Susanoo-clad Ninetales, wielding blades that can tear apart entire mountain ranges. And as I said earlier in the video, stacking on Sage Mode only increases all of Hashirama's stats. Now, many feats that attribute to Hashirama's wood style don't even come from him in the first place. We mainly get this from other characters who are quite literally using parts of Hashirama just to gain limited access to his wood style. Don't even think it's an exaggeration to say that Hashirama's cells are the crack cocaine of Naruto. Shouldn't be a hot take to say that Danzo, Yamato, and even Madara himself don't use wood style to the same degree as Hashirama, but their usage has revealed certain attributes about it that in turn should apply to Hashirama. When it comes to Danzo and Yamato, both of them have shown that the wielders of wood style are slower than the wood release themselves. When Sai literally lets Sakura fall to her impending death while unconscious, Yamato only has a split second to catch her with the wood style. He himself is too slow to go and rescue her. In the battle against Sasuke, Danzo himself is too slow to actually move out of the way of Sasuke's Susanoo arrow. Keep in mind as well that Danzo has used by this point in the battle Izanagi 3 times, which stated by both Karin and Obito multiple times during the battle that the jutsu takes huge chunks of chakra to activate. Danzo literally states he is unable to weave any signs in order to do anything about the jutsu when he is about to get hit by Sasuke, and resorts to using wood style to change the arrow's path. Wood style is faster than both Yamato and Danzo, which stands to reason that it is faster than Hashirama as well. For Madara, Hashirama reveals the Deep Forest Bloom technique, whereupon activation produces flowers that release pollen capable of putting targets to sleep when inhaling them. Besides this, Hashirama obviously has wood clones to fight with, his powerful golems is able to change the landscape with Deep Forest Emergence, Obito when using wood style is able to implant people with wood and have it sprout from their bodies, Multiple sealing jutsu we see from Yamato, is capable of summoning 5 Rashomon gates that can divert a Biju bomb infused with the Susanoo blade, his deity gates that briefly held down the Ten Tails, and has the Bringer of Darkness Genjutsu, which completely erases a user's field of vision. And last but certainly not least is Hashirama's healing abilities. Madara flat out states that Tsunade's 100 healings is just like how Hashirama was capable of healing himself. It's worth noting that Madara trash talks Tsunade's healing abilities while she's in base, so it stands to reason that Hashirama has equal or better healing than Tsunade while she's using 100 healings. For this match, we are going to call it equal because we don't have an exact measurement of Hashirama's healing abilities outside of Madara stating Tsunade is healing just like Hashirama would. That pretty much wraps up Hashirama's section for the video. We can go ahead and move on to the actual battle. Now for this battle, I can see the matchup going in 2 different ways, one in favor of Hashirama and one in favor of Whitebeard. This isn't me trying to make a cop-out to appeal to both fandoms or saying that they're equals, it's due to the fact that their arsenals, although they're wildly different in function, are extremely powerful and effective for both fighters in battle. I highly encourage you to actually listen to both explanations and make your decisions from there. To break it down, I don't see Hashirama's Bringer of Darkness Genjutsu doing anything to slow down Whitebeard. Basic observation haki would answer that issue immediately. Hiruzen literally just uses his sense of smell to detect where Orochimaru, Hashirama, and Tobirama were at. Deep Forest Emergence and Bloom wouldn't play a role as well. Whitebeard, whether through his Conqueror's Haki or Quakes, could blow away any flowers and pollen that would affect him. That was literally what Onoki did with Particle Style in order to defend against the Jutsu. Hashirama could totally use Deep Forest Emergence, but it's literally not like Whitebeard doesn't have the strength or range to destroy the landscape with his Quakes. The power of Hashirama's attacks jumped to another level while in Sage mode, but I had argued Whitebeard would be able to counter this by infusing his Quakes and Conqueror's Haki together. We clearly see him use Advanced Conquerors and Armament against Roger, and we know because of Marineford, he was literally coding his Quakes onto his weapon and body. It's not like we haven't seen a mission of Haki before from characters who are at the very least in the same weight class as Whitebeard, like Kaido and Big Mom when using Conquest of the Sea, as well as Old Garp with his Galaxy Strikes. This battle really comes down to who can endure their opponent's attacks the longest. As discussed previously, both can fight for days without rest and can take a lot of punishment being thrown their way. In favor of Whitebeard, I think the sheer range, power, and control of his Devil Fruit allows him to withstand the brunt of Hashirama's assault. The fact that he's able to not just strike and emit Quakes, but be accurate enough to hit Aokiji while he's mid-air is impressive. If Hashirama is hit by Whitebeard's Quakes directly, he is likely taking on significant damage. Hashirama with his healing could likely be able to heal from the attacks, but his healing is not infinite. Hashirama has one of the biggest chakra reserves in the entire Naruto franchise, but as the battle rages, it will get depleted over time. Also, Whitebeard's shockwaves can pass through physical objects, as we see when Whitebeard punches one of the Giant Marines with his Quakes and it travels all the way from their position to the execution platform where Ace was being held. We see this as well when Whitebeard hits Aokiji in the sky and completely shatters his ice body. Aokiji tanked it with no damage because he has a Logia body and the attacks weren't laced with Haki. The shockwaves literally pass through Akainu's body when Whitebeard lands his 2 Quake fists on him. So Whitebeard's attacks may actually bore through Hashirama's wood constructs. The more damage Hashirama sustains, the more likely he's going to fall. It's not like Hashirama was just tanking Biju bombs and Susanoo strikes with his physical body. His wood style allowed him to physically defend against the attacks. We see Tsunade attack with Madara's blades piercing her, but even she has her limits, as seeing later in the fight where she was bisected by Madara. And on the other hand, in favor of Hashirama, if Whitebeard gets hit by any of Hashirama's wood, it could lead to serious problems. It's no secret that Whitebeard can tank insane amounts of damage, but unlike his opponent, does not have a healing factor that allows him to recover from the damage. If Hashirama's wood lands, he's capable of making the wood violently sprout from Whitebeard's body. We see this with Obito against the Mist Ninja, as well as Danzo when he's losing control of his chakra and can't handle the effects of the Hashirama cells. And in my opinion, you could make a reasonable argument for Hashirama to be able to land these hits over time. It's not like Whitebeard isn't used to being jumped, but we literally see Hashirama make wood clones to aid the allied Shinobi force and battle Edo Madara at the same time. Because Hashirama's chakra is bare minimum relative to KCM2 Naruto, it is likely that Hashirama could make dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of clones to aid him in the battle. These clones are canonically weaker than Hashirama himself, and with Whitebeard's powers, I can see him thrashing through a bunch of them. Whitebeard in his prime condition is going to be able to dodge attacks that his weaker Marineford self could not, but all it really takes is one solid hit from Hashirama's wood style and trees can immediately start growing from Whitebeard's body. I don't think Whitebeard is immediately falling to this technique when he literally kept fighting when a chunk of his head got blown off and 2 giant holes in his chest with magma pumped into his body, but this would lead to his eventual defeat since he has no way of recovering from the damage. Given the capabilities of both fighters, I think both scenarios are 100% possible. To those who are watching the video, I would appreciate hearing your thoughts in the comments on this, and in your opinion on who wins and why. I'm going to keep rolling out more Naruto and One Piece matchups in the new year, and eventually branch out to other Shonen Jump verses to discuss battles as well. But it does take time to gather all that necessary info from different stories and see how they would hypothetically intersect with each other. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you like what you heard. Hope you have a great day and take care. Peace.